So to think about how Native Americans were affected by the American Revolution is a complicated question. In some regions, fighting between colonists and Native Americans started before the official start of the American Revolution in 1774, 1775, with Dunmore's War in the American Southeast. And in many ways, in many locations, especially the American Southeast and sort of the upper Northwest around the Great Lakes, fighting continued on after the Revolutionary War. And it wasn't until the Treaty of Greenville in 1795 that really 2 decades of conflict between settlers, first English colonists, then later Americans on the frontier, came to a close and was somewhat resolved. Some Native nations couldn't understand or didn't care to sort of take part in the Revolutionary War. Many Native nations tried specifically to remain neutral, especially in the early years of the conflict. But when forced to choose, I would say most Native nations turned to ally with the British because they saw them as a more sympathetic imperial power that if the British should win, they would have, natives would have more respect for their lands. The colonists on the ground didn't have a very good track record of respecting native lands. And so it's because of this history of mistreatment that most Native nations actually side with the British. A few do side with the Americans and fight for them and fight with them, but neither side makes out very well in the end. The British kind of forget and don't take care of very well the nations that have sided with them. And for the Americans' part, the nations that had sided with the British essentially are treated as conquered nations after the war is over.